Good evening. Thank you for joining us. This is the news on NTA International, and we're live from the nation's capital. I am Ruth Aguela. Let's bring you the headlines. Nigeria and Ethiopia signed 2 bilateral agreements on defense and diplomacy as President Buhari meets Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed in Addis Ababa. 1,350 megawatts of electricity to be generated as Nigeria and United States of America partner, just as committees for the construction of Mambila hydroelectricity plant inaugurated. Plus, federal government strategizes to promote food security. And we'll begin with the president's visit to Ethiopia. The wide-ranging partnership between Nigeria and Ethiopia has gained momentum and vigor as the two countries energize further the mechanisms of cooperation with the signing of 2 bilateral agreements on defense and diplomacy. Now, this formed the highlights of the high-level talks between President Muhammadu Buhari and Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed, in Addis Ababa. Let's hear from State House correspondent Adamu Sambo.
It was a highly befitting welcome for President Muhammadu Buhari as he arrived the Grand Palace, Ethiopian seat of state for over a century, on a state visit, the first since coming to power. Nigeria and Ethiopia have long-standing and robust bilateral relations spanning decades, but the leadership of the two most populous countries in Africa believe that opportunities abound for expansion towards enhancing mutual progress and prosperity. And this informed the high-level engagement between President Muhammadu Buhari and Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed.
They have a vision of a more self-reliant Africa, where we will increase trade amongst ourselves, And, interestingly enough, he believes that we should be investing in each other's, not only countries, but institutions. So, the Ethiopian president is saying, Nigeria can invest in Ethiopian Airlines and own parts of Ethiopian Airlines. He would also like to see, of course, Ethiopian Airlines having access to other Nigerian destinations. He wants to encourage Nigerian investors to come into Ethiopia, and of course he has, he spoke very highly of Dangote cement industries and others. He wants to see more, and he wants it to be a deep partnership, between the two countries. I think it was very, very clear that Nigeria and Nigerians can gain a lot in investing in Ethiopia. Ethiopia is one of the fastest growing economies in the world at the moment, over a double digit, over 10% a year. And so there's real scope, for Nigerian cooperation.
Prime Minister Ahmed emphasized a great respect and affection for President Muhammadu Buhari, saying he is keen to learn from Nigeria ways and means of addressing similar security, economic and governance challenges that they have.
Mr. President, spoke to him, about what his experience is, what we're experiencing as a country, and encouraged him to keep on the path that he has set for himself and his country, and assured him of Nigeria's full support and full commitment also to greater economic integration amongst our people. They have huge challenges with corruption, and also the capital flight, a lot of the resources trapped in foreign countries. And so they're also keen to learn from Nigeria how we have gone about repatriating a lot of the funds that have been stolen, because they have the same challenges too. And of course, Mr. President said that we're willing to share experiences.
He wants to emulate from Nigeria how the president has gone about in his war on anti-corruption. Whereas the people of Ethiopia have embraced the fight, and it's not a popular policy, Nigerians are still fighting the fight. And once corruption is not removed, there will be no development. the economy will not grow. The citizenry will also not grow. So there is need now for us to change our national attitude to governance, our national attitude as citizens, and then embrace the good policies of the president, and then join this war against corruption.
As a fallout from the talks, 2 landmark agreements on defense cooperation as well as visa waiver for diplomatic and official passport holders were signed between the 2 countries.
On defense cooperation, the 2 countries need to counter terrorism and promote closer collaboration in security areas. So the signing of that agreement is a step forward for our 2 countries to move forward. The second one has to do with exemption of visas to ensure that we create people-to-people contacts and then move forward our interest in the official political cooperation.
Apart from being Africa's leading countries demographically, Nigeria and Ethiopia are both multi-ethnic and multi-religious countries, amongst other commonalities. From Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
In a related development, President Muhammadu Buhari has restated the unshakable resolve of Nigerian government towards combating and defeating all acts of criminality, banditry and terrorism for sustainable peace and development in the country. He, however, appealed to Nigerians to support and cooperate with security agencies as they remain steadfast in defending and preserving national unity, stability and territorial integrity. This was at a meeting with the executive committee members of the Nigerian community in Addis Ababa as part of his state visit to Ethiopia. Again, State House correspondent Adamu Sambo will tell us more.
At the instance of President Muhammadu Buhari, participants at the interactive engagement coordinated by the chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabri Erewa, observed a moment of silence in honor of Nigerians brutally killed by Boko Haram terrorists last Monday in Borno State. Describing the incident as unfortunate and intolerable, President Buhari said the federal government will not relent until terrorism, insurgency and other acts of criminality are brought to an end.
Protecting Nigeria, fighting corruption and bringing prosperity to our people remain key priorities of our administration.
On economic matters and doing business in Ethiopia, the president noted the challenges being faced by some Nigerian investors in the country and directed relevant ministries to take up the matter with a view to resolving all complaints amicably with the Ethiopian authorities. Commenting on diaspora voting, President Buhari told the people that he is not against it, but legislation is required to make it a reality. He, however, expressed concern that some Nigerians in the diaspora have not been projecting the country in good light, urging them to change their ways and obey the laws of their countries of residence.
You are our ambassadors in the face of our country abroad. The world is therefore watching you and would make judgments on Nigeria based on your comportment and actions. Second, in whatever legitimate engagements you find yourself, you must strive to excel and be the best. Third, while you are out in the diaspora, do not forget home, as you represent some of the best human assets that Nigeria possesses.
The federal government, he said, is committed to supporting and protecting all law-abiding Nigerians, both at home and abroad, to prosper. Nigeria's ambassador to Ethiopia, Bankole Adeoye, commended President Buhari for reciprocating the visit to Abuja of the former Prime Minister of Ethiopia, given the country's zeal to develop stronger ties with Nigeria.
This is one of the most professional group of Nigerians anywhere in the world. They are distinguished Nigerians, they are prominent Nigerians, and they have continued to show us in very good light.
Nigerians in this country, we can assure you, are making positive contributions to the country. We are proud that the Nigerians we have here are not the Nigerians that give you trouble.
The Nigerian community in Ethiopia has the highest concentration of professionals working in international organizations such as the African Union and the United Nations agencies, which President Buhari described as correct representation of the Nigerian spirit of excellence. From Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And away from Ethiopia, back home on power generation, we hear that 1,350 megawatts of electricity is expected at the national grid, courtesy of the United States government. This was on the sidelines of the ongoing Nigerian International Petroleum Summit in Abuja. Mia Ogidi reports.
Day 2 of the Nigerian International Petroleum Summit, and it's a sunrise for the Nigeria power sector. 1,350 megawatts of electricity at the threshold. More than $1 million offering coming from the U.S. Department of Trade and Development to build gas-fired plant in the Federal Capital Territory. With an estimated 202 trillion cubic feet of proven gas reserves and large quantity fled to the skies on daily basis, the federal government declares 2020 as a year of gas. So, U.S. and Nigeria putting pen to paper in taking advantage of this declaration for the greater good of all.
Once built, the Abuja power plant will be yet another example of how the United States and Nigeria are working to develop durable solutions that meet the needs of the people of Nigeria, create jobs, and foster increased bilateral trade and investment.
Well, we are very grateful for the United States government to come in to help us. What this is going to do to us is to de-risk the Abuja power plant. Every one of you here, including the local oil companies, that it is a tax we must do. Don't focus on the profits. That you must create prosperity here so that we can create peace here so that all of us can live in peace. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
That was on the sidelines. So, now the main event of the day, the technical session, primarily focusing on proper and prudent management of African resources for the development of the continent.
We need to start building outwards industrial cities that utilize these energy resources to deliver the required growth of the African economy.
The journey Africa must take, that is energy transition in view of global energy dynamics, was absolutely a delight of the panelists. Mia Ogede, NTA News.
And more on power generation, the federal government has further demonstrated its commitment to commence the construction of Mambila hydroelectric plant, with inauguration of committees to mobilize resources to deliver 3,050 megawatts of electricity to Nigerians. Joshua Ojito will tell us more.
These are members of the Interministerial Steering and Project Delivery Committees, carefully selected to facilitate the takeoff of the Mambila Power Project and deliver it. They will, among others, work with the Tarawa State Government for land acquisition and the Chinese Exim Bank for funding of the project. While Minister of Power Saleh Mamman is to head the Interministerial Steering Committee, Overseeing Director of Renewable Energy in the Ministry of Power, Farouk Yusuf Yabo, is chairing the Project Delivery Committee.
The Ministry, prior to inauguration of this committee, has already taken a number of critical steps to ensure the successful takeoff of the project.
We have been given this responsibility and we intend to make sure that we deliver on the mandate given to us.
The host community will cooperate to make sure that this project is executed timely.
The project will cut across 7 local government areas of Tarawa State and when completed is expected to boost power supply in the country. In Abuja, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
And from promoting power generation, we move to promoting food security. The federal government is looking at the possibility of buying grains directly from farmers against the current system of engaging contractors. This is based on the request forwarded to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development by farmers' associations from Katsina State. Musa Baba Aliyu has the details.
The federal government is currently buying and stocking the country's strategic grain reserves with food items as part of food security strategy. This 25,000 metric ton storage capacity is one of the 33 storage facilities established by the federal government across the country. It's located in Dutse Katsina State, and so far, more than 16,000 tons of maize and sorghum have been stocked in the facility. The food items were purchased directly from contractors based on the existing laws guiding procurement.
It's not only important to make sure that we have the grains in the silo, but the grain is safe And for it to be safe, we have to institute now and install an effective monitoring system where we'll be able to monitor on a continuous basis those variables that will assure quality. So what we have here today is the procurement under the guaranteed minimum price for 2017 and 2018. The ongoing one is being taken to Gusau.
Farmers welcome the development, but stress the need for them to be carried along in the procurement exercise.
The government to buy direct from the farmers associations, because to be sincere, our farmers are organized, and we give them the quality input so that they produce quality products.
So far, the prices of agricultural commodities remain stable across the country, even though issues relating to guarantee minimum price remain a challenge to wheat and sorghum farmers. From Dutse Katsina State, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Let's talk business now with Onenge Fineface.
The Central Bank of Nigeria has engaged some companies in milk and dairy production who have keyed into the bank's backward integration program in local production of the items. This is part of efforts by the CBN to promote increased local production of milk, its derivatives and dairy products in the country. In a statement released Tuesday by the Trade and Exchange Department, the CBN says it would enhance the capacity of 6 companies to achieve set targets for milk and dairy production in Nigeria. Away from that, reports tourism is said to be a potential money spinner as alternative to the oil and gas industry. Conservator General of National Park Services Ibrahim Musagoni said this on the sidelines of a media advocacy visit to the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA. He said rather than visit tourist sites in other countries, Nigerians should patronize national parks and games reserves in the country to boost local economy and contribute to the nation's GDP.
Government is looking for alternative to oil, and when you talk of tourism, National Park has some different aspects of tourism. We are into cultural tourism, we are into ecological tourism. So with these aspects of tourism, we will be able to improve revenue from tourist visits to the national parks.
Nigeria has 7 national parks located in different parts of the country. That's it on the business segment of the news. I'm Onengiye Fineface.
Many thanks, Onenge. Let's pause for some messages. We'll be back shortly, so please stay tuned. For staying tuned. Following an insurgency attack on commuters in Aino village, Theatre Command Operation Lafia Dole has put in place stringent measures to safeguard lives and property by conducting 24 hours daily intensive counter operations along Maiduguri-Damaturu Highway. Theatre Commander Operation Lafia Dole Major General Olusegun Adeniyi disclosed this while briefing the press in Maiduguri. Maimuna Garba will tell us more.
While expressing dismay over the unfortunate incident in Auno, Theatre Commander Operation Lafia Dole Major General Olusegun Adeniyi said 10 persons lost their lives and several vehicles were burned.
We are going to do more than we are doing to ensure incidences like this become a thing of the past. I'm calling on all stakeholders to help us make road Maiduguri-Damaturu safe.
The theatre commander said during daytime, troops secured the highway, ensuring commuters move freely since the last attack, while in the night they go after the insurgents with full understanding that the road is closed and no vehicles plying the road.
If you know that this road closes by 4 o'clock, why are you entering it from either Maiduguri or Damaturu side by 3 o'clock? Because you find about 200 vehicles lined up in Auno, in Jekana, in Mainok, in Ngamdu, even in Kukareta. Many times, they will even be making gestures and doing everything possible that the soldiers should open the road for them to get to either Damaturu or Maiduguri. This is dangerous.
Meanwhile, Theatre Commander Operation Lafia Dole has handed over 3 students to their families after they were rescued by troops of the command from the terrorists. According to General Adeniyi, The rescued students, 2 girls and a boy, were abducted along Maiduguri-Gubio Road and rescued as a result of hot pursuit of the insurgents with the help of locals who provided intelligence. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
Let's look at felicitation. President Muhammad Buhari has felicitated with the Emir of Zazzau, Alhaji Shehu Idris, as he commemorated 45 years on the throne. The president described him as a symbol of peace, stability, unity and development of his people. He noted that the 18th Emir of Zazzau Emirate and chairman of the Kaduna State Council of Traditional Rulers remains not only a shining light and custodian of the culture of the Emirate, but also a revered monarch whose wise counsel to governments at the state and federal levels over the decades remain invaluable and enduring. President Buhari, in a statement by his special advisor on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, urged the Emir not to waver in his belief in the unity of his fatherland, but to do all within his power to ensure that his domain remains a model of peace. And a look at press freedom now. The Nigerian Union of Journalists says it will not only celebrate deceased members by paying tribute to them, but will continue to canvass for press freedom and independence in the country. President of the union, Chris Iziguzo, gave the assurance at a meeting with journalists ahead of the 2020 NUJ Press Freedom Award. Let's hear from Adebola Brooksland Sunday.
Records show that journalists the world over have faced harassment, threats, physical injury, imprisonment, and even death in the course of discharging their duties. It is against this background that the Nigerian Union of Journalists, in collaboration with NNT's Communications, have in the last 4 years set aside a day annually to pay tributes to living or deceased members and also commend media-friendly individuals as well as corporate organizations. Ahead of the 2020 edition, Chris Iziguzo said freedom of press must be protected and promoted.
It will be a disservice to humanity for any government at any level to undermine the freedom of the press.
Has helped in deepening democracy because people now are aware of the role journalists are playing to ensure that there's good governance.
The union's president also spoke about one of his members, Agba Jalingo, who has been in detention for about 7 months in Cross River State.
I've already sent message to our council leadership in Cross River State to avail us with the details of the next court appearance so that we will show solidarity. After that court appearance, we will also make some statements there. I also thank our media partners, NTA.
This year's award, which is in 7 categories, has been slated for May 5th, 2020, with a focus on journalism without fear or favor. Adebola Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
All right, let's get news on the global scene with Uche Ugochukwu.
A warm welcome. Sudanese authorities have agreed to hand over ex-President Omar al-Bashir and all those wanted by the International Criminal Court. The commitment came at peace talks between Sudan's government and the rebel groups from the Darfur region. The former president faces charges of genocide, war crimes and crimes against humanity over the conflict that broke out in the country's Darfur region in 2003. He was ousted as president in 2019. The UN's resident humanitarian coordinator in Yemen says crisis within the world's greatest humanitarian emergency could be reaching breaking point over the control of life-saving aid millions of Yemenis need to survive. Major donors and some of the world's biggest aid agencies will meet in Brussels on Thursday in an effort to forge a collective response to what is being widely described as unprecedented and unacceptable obstruction by Houthi authorities who hold sway over large swaths of northern Yemen. And WHO Chief Tedros Ghebreyesus says the first vaccine targeting China's coronavirus could be available in 18 months. He said the virus has been named COVID-19. The Chinese senior medical advisor, however, expressed optimism that the coronavirus outbreak may be over by April, although death toll passed 1,000. Meanwhile, China has removed several senior officials over their handling of the scourge. That's it from here. I am Uche Ugochukwu.
Still staying with the foreign scene, the state funeral for former President Daniel Arap Moi of Kenya took place today in Nairobi. Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo left Nigeria last night and represented President Muhammadu Buhari at the occasion. Moi, who died on Tuesday, 4th February, aged 95, was the second and longest-serving president of Kenya from 1978 to 2002. Vice President Osinbajo joined other African heads of state and world leaders at the occasion, which held at the Nyayo National Stadium in Nairobi. Described the late Arap Moi as a great African who contributed to the development of the continent and its people.
Was also very instrumental in COMESA and even IGAD. These are the precursors of the African Free Trade Continental Area arrangements that we're making today, and to which almost every African country has subscribed. And it will define the future of trade and relations in Africa. We thank God for such a great life. I thank God for all that he was able to do for Kenya and also for Africa.
State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports that the Vice President, who was accompanied on the trip by senior government officials, is expected back in Nigeria later today. And that concludes the news at 7 at this time. Many thanks for your company. I am Ruth Aguele. Bye.